The third part of the environmental analysis is the internal analysis. Basically, what this does is we use it to determine our resources, our capabilities, our competencies, whatever competitive advantages we have, but also to determine what's missing. This part of the analysis will give us our strengths and weaknesses in the SWOT. Our resources, capabilities, and competencies have to be evaluated with our goals, our business model, our strategy, and our vision statement in mind. Now, when you're writing this up, not all of the resources, capabilities, and competencies need to be included. Really, you want to include those that might lead to a competitive advantage. Here's some idea of some classifications. There are physical resources, human resources and capabilities. Intellectual, these might be patents or they might just be knowledge. There are intangible, what we know, how we do things, skills that we have, and organizational capabilities, like a big capability that leads to a big competitive advantage for Microsoft is that they can change on a dime. And there may be more, so don't this is the only list. Capabilities and competencies are basically done by evaluating the value chain. What do we do well? What do we do best? A sustainable competitive advantage has 4 parts. Is the capability or competency valuable? In other words, would another company like to have it? Now, valuable doesn't necessarily mean monetarily. Is it rare? Or can I just go out and get it anywhere? Is it hard to imitate? In other words, if I build something, would it be hard for somebody to imitate? Well, if I have a patent, it would be yes. And can the capability be trumped by a substitute, or what we call non-substitutable? And by this, what we mean is our location so awesome that a better price wouldn't make up for that instead? And finally, can the capability be exploited? You can have the greatest janitorial service in the world, but if you can't exploit it because you're an accounting firm, then it's not really worth much. So we put together a chart like this, and we put together some things that we think, some resources and capabilities that are kind of important. And then we determine, are they rare, are they valuable, are they non-substitutable, are they non-imitable, or are they hard to imitate? And are they exploitable? And if we can get a yes all the way across here, then we have a sustainable competitive advantage. Now, in this case, we don't. However, the owner's knowledge and the hiring skills are somewhat rare. So they might be a relatively short sustainable competitive advantage. The next thing we're going to look at are key success factors. This is a list of 5, 10 things that you need to be successful in the firm's industry. It could be any 10 things that you think. You determine which are the most important, and then you weight them. Like 10% of the success comes from your location, and 50% comes from your knowledge, whatever that may be. And choose a rating scale, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, whatever it is, it doesn't matter as long as it's consistent. And then rate each item and total them up, and then compare yourself to them. So this is what it looks like. Okay. So first, we list the things that we feel like we need to be successful. So the quality of our products, our reputation, our financial resources, our knowledgeable staff, blah, blah, blah. Anything that we think we need to be successful. Next, we rate them in importance. So we've gone through and we've looked at all these things and we said, okay, the quality of our live pets is the most important thing. That's 30% of our success in the industry. And 20% of our success comes from a pretty decent product selection of designer goods. So I fill these out, and when they total up, they have to equal 100. Next, I'll pick a scale. In this case, we went from 1 to 10. And because you're doing multiplication, 1 is always the worst of it, and the biggest number is the very strong side of it. Okay, then we go through and we check how we rate. So our quality is very high on our live pets. Our location is not so hot because we're in rural Montana. And our financial resources are not so good, even though we do well in some of the other areas. We multiply them out. So we take 10% times 5 to get 0.5. And then we add them up. Now remember, this is on a 10 scale. So our score is about a 6 out of 10 overall. Okay, so we've totaled all these up. And then we compare them. And we can compare them not only total to total. So we're okay against mom and pops. We're a little bit above the industry, not so bad. But we really suck compared to Pets R Us. So we can look and see, where are we really not doing well? Okay, well, financial resources is a big one. And another one, financial resources is a big one here, and so is location. The next thing we want to do is competitive mapping. We take the top 3 items, or the top 3 most important to us items from the key success factor chart, and we make a bubble map. And there is a video on YouTube about how to create a bubble map so that we can see visually where we are. Benchmark, benchmark, benchmark. You can benchmark against the industry, against a primary competitor, the number one guy in the industry, your own prior performance if you can't get information anywhere else. And we look at financial efficiency and effectiveness. Those are the benchmarks we look against. So here are some examples. Here are some financial, and like return on sales. We have a great return on sales. We have a pretty decent net profit margin. We have a good current ratio. Okay, so you can see how we benchmark financial. We can also do efficiency and effectiveness, like how much is our average customer transaction? What is our average markup? How many full-time employees do we have compared to the industry? Okay, so these give us some efficiency and effectiveness examples. The next thing we do is we look at what's missing. The charts, all of them, provide some insight as to where our weaknesses are. If we scored less than the top rating, can we fix the issue? Can we find a better location? But the other question is, does it really need to be fixed? In our particular instance, we're in a niche market, and so maybe it doesn't need to be fixed. Maybe we're okay. And it's always possible that you cannot compete with the top industry leader if you're a small business. There's no way that we have or will ever have, most likely, the financial resources that Pets R Us has. And that is the end of Chapter 3, Part 3.